As Republicans prepare to take control of the House tomorrow, there is a new focus on a new generation of Republicans who have gained support by supporting the policies of former President Trump, including New York Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who, as the New York Times reports, has undergone a massive transformation since her election to the House in 2014. She once called former President Trump a whack job in a message obtained by the New York Times, but now, quote, with breathtaking speed and alacrity, says the Times, Ms. Stefanik remade herself into a fervent Trump apologist, adopted his over-torqued style on Twitter, and embraced the conspiracy theories that animate his base. Joining me now is New York Times political and investigative reporter Nick Confessore, who wrote this article on Elise Stefanik. Nick, it's great to see you. Happy New Year. So, she's done a complete makeover. She went to Harvard, right? She was a moderate from upstate New York. And you write that she crafted her brand as a model moderate millennial, but now, quote, she speaks, MAGA fluently with a touch of a foreign accent. So why did she abandon her old political ideals? Is this all opportunism?
This story is about the price of power, Andrea, and kind of what people are willing to do in order to rise and stay on the course they set for themselves. At one point in her life, she was embraced by the Bush and Paul Ryan part of the party. They groomed her as a future leader. She liked it, and they respected her. She wanted her brand to be a problem solver, a moderate, a bipartisan. And then she found in the Trump years that simply had no value in Washington, that she was squeezed between the right and the left, that her friends wanted her to take a tougher line on Trump, and Fox thought she was a squish. And so, as we all saw in the impeachment hearing, she very deliberately made a big turn and found that if she supported Trump completely, if she adopted his language, his causes, his Twitter style, she could raise a ton of money without even being a committee chair, and ensconce herself in leadership in the House, which she has done. And the question now, I think, is what do you do with that power once you have it? And what good is it if you have become part of a party that can't kind of govern itself or the country?
And she ended up, of course, rising in the leadership ranks, replacing Liz Cheney, in fact, as conference chair.
That's right. In two previous leadership elections, Stefanik actually stood up and nominated Liz Cheney, said she was great in the job. And what Liz Cheney did in 2021 in voting for the second impeachment of Donald Trump, in saying the party should pull back from him, she embarrassed a great many Republicans who wanted to just avoid the question, stop talking about it, and move on, not be embarrassed by their own unwillingness to stand up to Trump's election lies, the big lie. And she got that job with Trump's blessing by saying, look, we can all move on. I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire. I'm going to keep the fire on Democrats. And of course, she promised to be a Trump person. And that has carried her pretty far.
Now, talk to me about a friend of hers who ended up working on the Pete Buttigieg presidential campaign.
Well, I thought it was a real anecdote about the chameleon-like nature and the willingness to look at almost any avenue for advancement. So in the middle of the first impeachment battle in the fall of 2019, which, as you recall, she was taking on an active role. She was defending the president in public. She was going head-to-head with Adam Schiff on the Hill. She was actually talking to a friend working on the Buttigieg campaign to see if Mayor Pete might consider her for a cabinet job if he defied the odds and won the presidency. The friend she was talking to was so incredulous they couldn't believe she was saying it, and maybe she didn't understand at the time how odd it might have been. In her mind, it was a normal thing because she and Mayor Pete were friends from college, and I think it kind of goes to a bigger picture with Elise Stefanik. There's a kind of guilelessness about the choices she's made and an unwillingness, in my experience, to recognize and say, look, I've changed. She's always said, I haven't changed. I'm the same person I've always been. And one theme of our article is maybe that's true. If your main guiding light has always been self-advancement, to figure out what to say, what to embrace, then maybe there is no change.